Good evening, everyone. Please do check your Telegram. I had posted about it that the class might be 10-12 minutes long. I think in the Telegram group there were some doubts regarding cognitive dissonance and crisis of conscience. Yes. So I will explain those concepts in the topic attitude, because there we will learn about the cognitive dissonance, and crisis of conscience we will learn the topic conscience only. Okay. But for the sake of this discussion, we can understand that if we behave differently than what we believe in or what we have the attitude of, then it may lead to a feeling where we may be uncomfortable. For example, all of you may believe that you need to work hard. The attitude is to work hard. Attitude is to be disciplined and sincere student. But suppose your behavior is not that. Suppose your behavior is that you are not spending time enough on the study. Then ideally you should feel guilty about it. Yes, mentally there should be some dissonance in you. So that is called cognitive dissonance. The difference between attitude and behavior. So when ethics in private relationship is too different from ethics in public relationship, then it may create the situation where you believe in something, but you are doing something else in the public life, and that is how cognitive dissonance may be created, and it is a feeling that is very uncomfortable, and everyone want to avoid that. Okay, so I think you can join this group by scanning this particular scanner. Is it done? So have you revised everything what we have discussed? I think you got 2 days of break. Yes? Everything you could revise? Have you started seeing PYQs? Yes? Did you see the PYQ on just and unjust, the question that was asked this year? Were you able to understand that question? I'm asking you only. Were you able to understand the question, the demand of the question? Yes? So मरे क्यों बोल रहे हो भाई? क्या हो गया? दिन भर ज़्यादा पढ़ लिए क्या? Yes, energy is not there. Okay, nice. So basically, so far we have discussed the role of family in terms of value inculcation. And before we revise that, I think it is more important that we understand the importance of value inculcation in the first place. And when we discuss that, we discuss that how various societal evils, they have genesis in wrong values. So lot of crises that our society is facing, collectively, be it cleanliness, be it corruption, be it social evils, all these things have root in wrong values. That value inculcation has not been done properly, and that is the perspective that all of you must have while you are writing your ethics answer. So if you, in this question, this year's one question was there, that how do you resolve this contrast that is there between society and environment? Yes, this question was there. Dekha kisi ne? Any of? Yes? So this question was there, that how you can resolve that contrast between society and environment. So it should not, the answer should not just be about narrating environmental ethics. It should also include the role of family. That family shares a great duty to inculcate environmental conservation as a value. Understood or not? Because laws, rules and regulation have their own limitations, and that we have seen in the context of dowry, in the case of rape and everything. Understood or not? So that is why this perspective that various societal evils, they have lack of value inculcation at the heart of it. This perspective all of us should understand, and that is why if you are writing an essay on environmental problem, you are writing an essay on any problem, you can always give the perspective of value inculcation or the role of family and as part of your way forward. Understood or not? So far you have understood. And then we discussed that yes, family plays a great role, and we are able to inculcate different sort of values like cooperation, discipline, democracy, yes or no, selflessness, responsibility, compassion. Yes, all these values we are able to inculcate from the family members, and observation, learning, allegory, the type of parenting, that is there, how the child is reared, all these things have lot of impact on the child when he or she grows up. Understood or not? And then we also discussed the dysfunctional system of the marriage that is there. of the family that is there, and because of that, what is the impact on the value inculcation? And the impact is dual impact. It is good impact and it is bad impact. That is what you need to bear in mind. Don't just write bad impact. The good impact is also there. So you write about that. So basically now we have studied family properly, the role of family as an institution properly. But we also discussed that family cannot substitute education institutions, because in most of the cases family may not be able to provide the kind of platform, the kind of diversity that is there with schools, education institutions can provide. Understood or not? Family may not be, family itself may be orthodox in nature. There may not be great role models in the family itself. Understood or not? And that is why we need a different institution than the family, and this institution is called education institutions. And then we started learning about that, and one of the keywords that we learned about that was whole school approach, that schooling should be viewed holistically. Dysfunctional family means that the family structure is breaking down, because of so and so regions, because of, let's say, increasing divorce rates, because of changing in family structure. So a family which is not functioning properly, which is not discharging its role properly, that is the context that I am telling you. Basically, this is a dynamic part of the family that is having influence on the value inculcation. The question can be asked separately also by the UPSC. Understood? So now we learned that great keyword, and that was whole school approach. So whenever we just how do you actually make the best use of the course, this course or any course, is that you enhance the huge value of the information that you are remembering. And now that you have remembered whole school approach, that keyword you should write every time there is a question on role of EI, that is education institution in inculcation of values. Understood or not? So that is how they should go hand in hand. Otherwise you will forget ki, Arey bhai, I was supposed to write whole school approach and then I forgot. This should not be the case. Just make it amply clear here that you will write whole school approach keyword either in conclusion or elsewhere in the answer whenever you are discussing role of EIs in terms of value inculcation. Understood? So we know that we need to have this holistic perspective with respect to education. Education should not just be about the grades. Education should not just be about the academics. Education should be about the value inculcation, right? It should also include value inculcation, and there it view not just, my dear students, just look at it, not just the school environment, but also parents and the family as an extension of it. That is what the whole school approach is all about. That it recognizes and understand that there is a great role that is played by family also. So, and that's why you see the parent-teacher meetings are there, all these things, because it recognizes that the school, the learning in school have to be complemented by family level at home. Understood or not? So whenever we are discussing educational institutions, it is important that we understand this background of the importance of value inculcation, and the family may not be able to play that great a role, and that is why education institution must step in. Yes, and I think we started some discussion on the education institutions. Yes, we discussed that how we can learn the values of discipline. We discussed that how we can learn the values of cleanliness. Yes. Yes or no? What other values? Respecting elders. Yes, that is what we discussed. And we also discussed the case studies of Japanese school. The two important keywords were there, in which we can write those case studies. Whenever, just remember like this, that whenever I am writing answers on educational institutions' role in value inculcation, I will be always be quoting Japanese case study and some other case study that I will be teaching you today. Okay, so basically my answer has to be always value loaded answer. I will never write that, learning example like discipline. For example, discipline. I will never write that. I will write, for example, Japanese students cleaning classroom. That is what I will write. Okay, so that is a difference that you will create in your answer writing, in the actual answer. So basically, we learned that, these are the values that we can learn. Yes, so now let us just start our discussion. This is what we have discussed. Discipline, cooperation, leadership, all these things we have discussed. Yes or no? अरे ऑनलाइन वालों आप हो यहाँ पे, समझ में आ रहा है simultaneously? Okay, nice. So let us now learn the other values that we can learn from the schools. Yes, we had to stop the discussion midway. So what are the other values that we learn from the school? Okay, you note it later, first you understand. So tolerance, as I discussed, that more often than not in our family, in our family it becomes very difficult that we will be encountering people from the diverse background of the life. Yes, more or less we will be meeting the people who are having similar status, similar ideology, because that is how, your family relationship, grows. You usually dine and meet with the people who are from similar background, similar belief pattern that is there. So that is why it may become difficult for you to understand the importance of diversity. And that is why you often hear that the people who live in such mentality, the mentality becomes like a frog in the well, that is the only world that is there. Understood or not? So here I have a great story to share, and before I share that story, I would request you not to judge me, because this is stories about me. Yes? So can I trust you with that? Yes? This batch is a bit serious, in foundation course you cannot trust them. anything they can leak and everything. Okay, and the story is that how actually I learned the value of tolerance. Okay, so to give you some brief background, I've been born in a Brahman family. Yes, and my family is very religious, very orthodox, in its approach. Very religious, that they will wake up every day at 4 a.m. and then they will all this puja, havan, every day they will do it. Both my parents, they're very religious in nature. And naturally, I was born in this small town called Kama, from Bharatpur district of Rajasthan. And okay, so usually, when you are born in such family, usually your relationship or your family interaction are with similar family only. Okay, so would you believe, so as part of that upbringing, I was taught that, I have to be vegetarian, and I need to eat only vegetarian things. And it was not just enough to be vegetarian, simultaneously the other line was also there, that it was wrong to be a non-vegetarian. Yes, if you eat non-veg, then you are doing something wrong. It is actually a wrong thing to do. So that was the notion, like a frog in the well, and I was having that mentality, of course, very stupid of me, that, because that is the right thing. The people who are having non-vegetarian, they are actually wrong people. It is not just that they have to vegetarian. It is that they are wrong people. So that is the mentality I had, and of course you will not blame me, because see, if I tell you that till the age of, I think, 17, I did not even see non-vegetarian dish in my life. I did not even see meat in my life. Because where I will see those things? Because in my hometown, those shops were not there in the open. The market did not have such shops near my locality. And where will I go as a child? I will go to my relatives only. Those, of course, they were vegetarian only. They were Brahmins only. So basically, my attitude, my attitude was like that only, that I have to be vegetarian and it is the right thing to do, and people who are having this non-vegetarian thing, they are doing something wrong and they will be punished for that later, of course. ठीक है, and the God will punish them later. So मैं तो पुण्य कमा लूँ अभी, ठीक है. So I was like that, just like a frog in the well. So such extremist view I had, as growing up. So when I was allocated IIT Kharagpur in 2008, would you believe me if I say that even, while I was filling the choices for my counseling, I did not even know where Kharagpur was in the country. So when I was allocated IIT Kharagpur, and when I searched it for the first time on the internet, I found out that it is in West Bengal. Okay. After I got the branch of engineering, that is civil engineering, then I got to know that it is in West Bengal. Then me and my father, we went there, and I got allocated this Rajendra Prasad Hall of Residence. I went there. So, in those days, in first years, we have to share our room with someone, So my room partner, he was there. So he was already there before me. So I asked him, what is your name and where are you from? And he said, my name is Rohan Kishan and I'm from Bihar. And now, just by listening to this state, Bihar, because I had this conception or misconception that, people from Bihar and West Bengal, voice is not coming. Am I not audible? Abhishek, Yash, anyone? Am I not audible? So, Anil, you please check it at your end. I'm audible. So basically, I had this conception. So that people from Bihar, they have non-vegetarian dishes all the time. So can you believe me? What the next question I asked him? Ki bhai, do you eat non-veg? And he said, yes, I do. And I, requested him that, चलो भाई अब मैं तो कुछ कर नहीं सकता है इसमें. At least don't do it inside the room. And he was, kind enough, humble enough to acknowledge that, ठीक है भाई, room में नहीं खाएंगे, and I will have it outside only. And then I went to mess. Again, the same question, whether I will get vegetarian dish here or not, or whether I have to eat, fish only, because Bengalis are known for that. So they told me, no sir, there will be separate counter for veg and non-veg. You need not worry about that. And that's when, I had this relief. Okay, I will have my vegetarian dish here. So I think in the evening, I remember my maternal uncle called me. He was working in an MNC in Noida at that point of time. And he asked me, Piyush, is everything all right there? Have you settled well there? And I told him, yes, Mamaji, everything is fine. Campus is huge, it's very beautiful. 2,200 acre of campus, very huge campus Kharagpur has. So for me, it was the very first time I was going to such a huge campus. So Mamaji, everything is fine, but this one problem is there. And he asked me, what is your problem? And I told him, my roommate, is a non-vegetarian. And my Mamaji was working in MNC Noida at that point of time. He told me, Piyush, it is not a problem. It is a cultural thing. But, how would I understand what culture is? I was studying all the E is equal to MC square, Newton's law and everything, because I was preparing for this examination, and so I did not understand anything of it. But Mamaji ne bola koi problem nahi, and then, okay. So just after that, our orientation program started. The friendly interaction between seniors and juniors, yes. So it started immediately after that, 1 or 2 days after that. So in that friendly interaction, the seniors will often give us tasks. Tasks were like all of us, all our batchmates, we were supposed to gather in a common room, and our seniors will come, and the task was that we have to remember name and the location, the district from where the student was, our batchmate was, and the department he was enrolled in. These three information you are supposed to remember about every student who was there in our batch. Okay, so that was the task that was given to us, and then the meeting will happen. All of our batchmates will be in the common room. Seniors will come, and one by one they will just make someone stand up and ask other person what is his name, from where he belongs, and what is his department of engineering. So we were supposed to know all these things. So now, because courtesy of that obligation, we were able to remember everything about everyone. Yes. So one fine day I was eating in this mess, our own hall mess, and when I was eating, and I recognized, this Kaustubh Saha, who is from Kolkata, he's having fish all the time. Yeah? And this Tanmay Sahu, who is from Bhadrak, he's also having fish all the time. And someone from Visakhapatnam, a person was there, he's having mutton all the time. Sandeep Non-Kindri, who was my room neighbor, he is from Meghalaya, he's having all the thing all the time. So, so basically, because I knew from where these persons were, because of the tasks that were given to us. But now, then I recognized that, if had I born into Meghalaya, then I will also be eating the same thing. Had I born into Kolkata, then I will be eating the fish only. Had I born in, let's say, this place, I will be eating chicken only. And then there I realized, in just after a few days, just after that, and that was great, that has great liberatory impact on me. It liberated me from such foundations that the dietary practices are actually a result of the culture you are born in. More often than not, it is the result of that. You don't get to actually choose your culture. How can anyone choose that you will be born in a Brahman family or any other family, or in Bengal or in Bihar or in Rajasthan? And that liberated me like anything. Just this perspective then hit me, what my Mamaji told me, that Piyush, it is a cultural thing. That yes, the dietary practices are actually a cultural thing, and they can vary, and there is nothing great and nothing bad about it. It is just their dietary practices. Yes, and they are different from one culture to other culture. And then, in the years, I think I remember it happened immediately after my admission, 15-20 days after that, because that is when the friendly interaction happened, and so that is when I was liberated. And because of that, I'm telling you, I made so great friends. I think all of my friends, who are very close to me, they are non-vegetarian. and we go together and we order. Of course, I am still vegetarian, but it has not stopped me from dining with them. It has not stopped me that I can be great friend with them. So because now I got to realize that dietary practices is a cultural thing. There are people who may have different opinion, different practices than us, and we have to be respectful towards that, and we have to respect that culture. Okay, so that is how you actually get to inculcate tolerance. Tolerance is nothing but permissible attitude that you have towards the things that you may disagree with, or that that may be different than you have. Okay, so that is how tolerance was inculcated me, because that was actually the first time I was facing students from all over India, from Kerala, from Tamil Nadu, from Himachal Pradesh, from every walk of the place students were there. And for me, that was truly representative of the diversity of this country. And then I realized the importance of tolerance. And till this date, it has maintained like that only. So tolerance, education institutions, they are really in a great position to teach you that. Because in the family you may remain like the frog in the well all the time, that this is the only life, or this is the only place, this is the only way the life can be lived up. Yes, so and that is why Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, you may note it also. Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat is a great initiative to inculcate tolerance, because in that initiative, you are made to visit different parts of the country, exchange of students that is there, and because of that you get exposure to different cultural practices. So that is how you can learn and imbibe the value of tolerance. Understood or not? Then respecting elders, of course. Yes, it is taught to us in schools and colleges that we have to respect our teachers, our parents, and everyone. Open-mindedness, because you see, schools, this premise provide us so many opportunity to open up with our friends, because there are many things that we may not be that comfortable in sharing with our parents or with our siblings, but we share them with our friends. Yes, so it provides that platform where we can be open up about our feelings, where we can forge real friendship with our other human beings. So basically open-mindedness it provides, and this expression of yourself, it's not just verbally, not just with respect to your friend. Schools and colleges, they provide various platforms. You talk about painting, you talk about dancing, you talk about drama, you talk about all these art forms. These art forms are nothing but basically various ways to express your personality, what you think, what is your worldview, how do you see things. So basically you get to express yourself through different type of activity that all the time may not be possible at your home. So open-mindedness is something. Often, there is a thought of that day. Often you would see in schools and colleges, great slogans that have been written over there. Yes, great slogans. So that is a direct way to inculcate right set of values. Yes, thought of the day, it is there, inculcating the right set of values. Very important. In our school, it was written that Jnanarth Pravesh Sevarth Prasthan, that you come to the school to gain knowledge and you depart to serve others. In my I think KGP, my college, Yoga Karmashu Kaushalam was written, that I will teach you that excellence, you attain spirituality through excellence in action. So basically all these great institutions, they teach you many moral values, if we listen to them. Understood? And that is why you see in Singapore, value inculcation forms a part of the pre-university civic syllabus with the theme making a difference. So that's how important value inculcation is. Another good case study of Puerto Rico is that it is compulsory for teachers to teach secular moral values for 5 to 10 minutes after the 50-minute classes. So basically, when we are talking about schools, now we know this case study of Japan, Singapore, and the Puerto Rico, that where dedicatedly, you are making effort to inculcate right set of values. And when we are writing answers on this particular topic, those sort of examples we need to quote. But my dear students, when we are talking about schools and colleges, schools and colleges are not monolithic entity. It is not the case that when you are writing the answer, you will be writing answer just like that. When you are talking about education institutions, it is not just the school and education, as a whole, schools and colleges as a whole. There are various components of that. Like, you talk about teachers. Teachers have a great role to play. They have their own way to influence value inculcation. You talk about curriculum, we'll discuss that. You talk about extracurricular activity. So basically, schools and colleges are not the monolithic entity. So when you write answer to that, that how EIs, in this case education institutions, they are helping in terms of inculcation of values, you will be dividing your answer. You're dividing your answer, at the macro level, how schools and colleges are helping, then what is the role of teacher, what is the role of curricular activities, what is the role of extracurricular activities. So all these things, you need to write whenever you are writing answer on this. And with this in mind, now let us understand the role of teachers in terms of inculcation of values. Let us understand the role of teachers in terms of inculcation of values. Now, I think all of you would know that Sachin Tendulkar, he refused endorsement of alcohol beverages. Yes, even though he was getting multi-million-dollar contract, and he often said that it was because his father took this promise from him that he will not be endorsing such things. So basically, that is the kind of impact his father had on him, that he will not be using his popularity, just to serve his own self-interest, that he will be mindful of what he is doing in the larger context of society, that it may have some bad impact. So can you now understand the importance of parent, that we discussed. Similarly, in the context of teachers also, if we talk about Ramkrishna Paramhans, yes, I think all of us know Narendra. Yes. Now, there is a huge role that was played by Ramkrishna Paramhans in making Narendra Swami Vivekanand. Huge role was played by him. So, whenever we are talking, because it is the job of the teacher to show the path, to open up various vistas of opportunity to the students, that this much you can achieve, and that is the way towards that. So Ramkrishna Paramhans had great role to play. Chandragupta Maurya became Chandragupta Maurya because of Chanakya. Yes, another great important role of teacher. Yes, similar example you can give about Shivaji Maharaj, Shivaji Maharaj. Then Samarth Guru Ramdas, he was his teacher. Then Shivaji Maharaj became Shivaji Maharaj because of Samarth Guru Ramdas. If you are talking about modern day life, then you are talking about Professor S.C. Verma. How many of you from science background? Those, I think all of us. Okay. So I think all of us must have gone through this book, Concept of Physics. Can you imagine the kind of impact this book has had? That this book became synonymous with physics preparation. Can you imagine the kind of reputation, credibility the book had? That it explained the concept in such a layman perspective that many of us could clear their concept because of these two great books. So that is the kind of impact this particular teacher had. Not just on the with respect to the perspective that students were able to realize their dreams of becoming doctors and engineers, but also in terms of inculcation of scientific temper in the students, because now they will be able to question things around them. They will not accept superstitions because now they know the physics behind them. Understood? Can you imagine how many research scholars this person would have inspired while teaching at IIT Kanpur? So because of that, he was awarded with I think Padma Shri. Yes, he was awarded with Padma Shri. So that government also recognized his contribution in terms of that. So that is the role of great teachers when we are talking about that. Because for the teacher, a student is like a clay. It depends upon the teacher how is molding that clay, and that is the role teachers can play. I will give you another example. When Gandhiji returned from South Africa, home rule movement was going on. Yes, so Gandhiji wanted to participate in that home rule movement because he was patriotic and everything, and he regarded Gopal Krishna Gokhale as his political guru. And Gokhale Sahab said that you should not take part in any national freedom activity until you understand the pulse of the people, until you understand that what is required by the different section of the society. And Gandhiji toured entire country after that. For 1 year, Gandhiji was touring entire country. Can you imagine the kind of perspective he have got because of that? Can you imagine, because of that learning, he was able to build a mass-based movement. That is the single most, biggest contribution of Gandhiji to make Indian freedom struggle mass-based. He was able to think from the perspective of farmers, from the perspective of laborers, from the perspective of women, from the perspective of Harjans, So he was taking everyone along. He believed in the concept of Sarvodaya because he had seen it all through all that pilgrimage that he was doing across the country. So basically, that is the kind of impact teachers and mentors can have on the students. Yes, because it is the role of the teacher that it will tell the students that these are the opportunities that are there and this is the path to there. And when the student traverses that path, he faces so many challenges, and it is the job of the teacher to act like a mentor at times. Understood? So the role of teacher is very, very important. What is the teaching of Gokhale ji to Gandhi ji? It is about that Gandhiji regarded Gokhale as the political guru, his political guru. So he only advised Gandhiji that you should not, plunge into national movement when he returned from the South Africa, because at that point of time, home rule movement was there. So because of that, Gandhiji undertook, I think, 1 year of pilgrimage across the country, and he was understanding the pulse of the people, what the problem they are facing. And I think that had great contribution in terms of him becoming, a mass-based leader. Understood? So a teacher acts as agent of change. They are mentor and guide, and they themselves at times become, surrogate parent and mentor. They are not biological parent of the student, but at times they behave as if they are parent of the student. Basically, they take so many responsibilities with respect to students, and that help them into achieving of their goals. Because at times, I will give you your examples only, all of you, many of you are in your multiple years of attempt, and when you, go into that cycle, failure after failure you are facing, then at times you may find that, you are alone. So much of problems are there. The mental health crisis, it is very much real in our line of work, in this industry. So many students are suffering from that because for 4 year, 5 year, all they are getting is failure after failure. I will give you an example. Okay. I think in 21, I was in Jaipur, and there was a student of mine, Deepika, and she was a very meritorious student, and I think graduated from a very good college in Delhi, I think LSR or something like that, and after that she joined very reputed firm, consultancy firm McKinsey. Okay, so it is very good firm actually to work at, and then she resigned from there and started preparing for the civil services. And then she got interview call, but she could not make it through in the 2020. Okay, and then she met me after 21, she could not make it through. And then she met me after that, and we said, okay, I will work, we will work. She got 95 marks in the ethics that year. And in due course of time, her answer writing improved a lot. Would you share any PPT before human values today? वो तो कर दिया ना. In the last lectures, I already showed that to you. So, we started working on our answers, and for some seminar I came here in Delhi. I was in Jaipur all the time. And I remember 3 weeks before the mains, there was a seminar in here only, ORN only, and she also came, and she showed me some of her answers. And when I was going through her answers, I realized that she had improved a lot. She was writing tremendously well, but she was very nervous. I am telling you, very, very nervous. Lot of anxiety was there on her face. And I think I could sense that if she remained in that mental state, she will not be able to perform in the examination hall. And I think I told her very clearly that, Deepika, I think forget these answers. You are writing quite well. Take it from me. You will get good marks in ethics, but you need to work on your mental health. And I advised her that from this day onwards, you will be going every day to park and do some exercise and get exposure to sun, because I believe sun exposure helps a lot in terms of mental health. And you will report to me on a daily basis on the WhatsApp, because she was having my number, and on a daily basis, then she started sending me these texts, that I have done this, that green box, not take away wala, and I was like, keep it up, So the mains examination passed away, and I think she got interview call also. And then on the day of the result, she got 151 rank, All India rank 151. Her marks in the ethics, I think 129, from 95 to 129, a jump of, I guess, 34 marks, lot of marks she gained there. And I remember on the day of the examination only, she came to meet me with her mother, and she told me, sir, that today morning we were discussing that अभी कौन ऐसा टीचर है जो अपने बच्चों से ऐसे बोलेगा कि आप एक्सरसाइज करिए और भेजिए. I am telling you, there was no obligation on me to do that, because I was not responsible for that. She had paid me for the ethics course, and I had delivered that, and she was improving like anything in that particular part. But her mental health was not that good. So my dear students, that is what I am telling you, that a true teacher, will go beyond his call of duty. That is what I also follow. And because the struggles, your struggles are not always academic. There are extra academic struggles that are there. There is a video that is there, if you can just search on YouTube, you search Deepika Agarwal, rank 151, the short that you will find. She's narrating that story in that particular thing. And that is how important mental health is, because at times you don't need much support academically. At times you just need someone who is just standing by you, because at times you are believing in everyone. Everyone in the sense, people are telling you that you will not be able to do it. All sort of negative things are consuming you, but you just need one person who will tell you that no, you will be making it through, and that actually works many times. I will give you the example of last year. Another student, she was married, and lot of problems were there in her life, and same story. She was very much anxious, and when she was showing the answers, and sir mera to nahi hoga na, that is how she used to ask me, sir mera to nahi hoga na, instead of ki sir मैं और क्या कर सकती हूँ, ठीक है sir मेरा तो नहीं होगा ना, then I will tell her no, you will be, I am telling you will get good marks in ethics. That is what I will tell her. With all sincerity at my command, I am telling you, you will do well in this examination. नहीं sir नहीं होगा, मेरा तो नहीं होगा. And often she will cry also, because that was her status at that point of time. She was going through a lot. And when she got rank this year, some 205, 206 rank she has got this year, she messaged me and she said, sir, this success is as much yours as it is mine. Okay, and I really felt good after that, because you see, every year I am teaching these things and everything. These are the stories I live for. I am telling you, because out of all the results, if I can be, I can play any role in terms of any story like that, then actually, you get a lot of satisfaction in what you are doing. Another student, I think all of you know him. He was viral after this year's result. Pawan Singh Rana, who was from Bihar. I think photographs of his house were shown. He was not having pakka house, and a lot of poverty was there. From that background, he became IAS officer, and I was very happy for him. He was my student. So I am telling you that the role of teacher goes beyond that, goes beyond academic learning. At times, a teacher has to, act like surrogate parent, mentor, because a student, he is going through a lot. At times, that is the only thing that is required, that the teachers are standing by you. So, mentor, and that is a value that you inculcate. And I am very sure that now Deepika, she will be very much sensitive to such people. And I think when I met her last time, this year only, then she herself told me that, sir, after that incident, she is very much supportive of the people who are suffering through this crisis, this mental health crisis. So, she herself, comes forward and shares her number and, work together with all such people. So I'm telling you, and I believe that, I derive a lot of satisfaction from that perhaps now she's able to understand that how important mental health is and the role it can play in anyone's success. So that is how mentors or teachers, I would say, can inculcate right set of values through their behavior. They can be role model in true sense, they can be through their various activities, they can demonstrate the right set of behavior that students want to emulate. Observation learning, we have already learned that there's a way of inculcation of right set of values. So by being a great role model, they get to impact child's value. So teacher again play a great role. Pedagogy, the way they are teaching the student, how they are teaching the student, because There are lot many ways in which students can be taught, lot many ways. And I remember in our school days, a teacher, they will ask someone to stand up and that person will read the entire chapter, and that is how teaching will happen. Okay, so the pedagogy, it was just not there. I remember in my Kota experience, in physics, 2 teachers were there. One teacher was that he was able to, he will be solving almost all the conceivable problem that was there on the board, and you will find questions from them only in the actual paper. Okay, so that was the way of one physics teacher. Another physics teacher was that he will not be solving so many questions on the board. He will simply, he will take a lot of time to build concepts, and he will, tell you so many concepts, and he will build that conceptual clarity so that you can solve many, many questions in the actual examination hall. I was really fond of this second teacher because he was building the conceptual clarity, and because of that, you were able to solve so many problems, because you cannot predict every problem that will come in the IITJ examination. Just as he said, many of you ratify all the formulas, still there is a problem, you are not able to solve the questions. But many students, they have so much of conceptual clarity that they derive formula then and there in the examination only, because it is not required that you memorize the formulas. So pedagogy, it has a lot of impact in terms of value inculcation. You talk about our own, school environment that is there. There is not much focus on pedagogy. The focus is on ratifying thing. Focus is on that you should, you should earn more percentage, more grades, rather than actually learning things. Focus is not on pedagogy. So when I started teaching, I made sure that my pedagogy focuses a lot on conceptual clarity. If you just look at any of my testimonial of my previous students, you will find this one thing that is common, that sir, you made us learn how to think multidimensionally in the examination hall. Okay, for example, now I am sure if the question come on role of education institutions, then you will be bifurcating your answer in the context of teacher, curriculum, extracurricular activity, and the school environment as a whole. That alone will generate a lot of dimension in your answer. So pedagogy, it plays a great role, stories, example, real life example, because students relate to them, because students then learn them. Yes, so pedagogy, teachers through the pedagogy impact right set of values. Then it is a duty of the teacher to create a very positive environment. An environment that is conducive for learning. At times teachers are so strict, that students, are even afraid of asking questions. They does not provide that kind of learning environment. At times teachers themselves discriminate among the students. How will the students learn? Understood? So that is what we can learn from the teacher. So teachers play great role in terms of inculcation of value. Ramakant Achrekar, Sachin Tendulkar became Sachin Tendulkar because of Ramakant Achrekar. His coach had a great role to play. So that is what you need to understand, that a role of teacher is very important. Now UPSC asked the question, 2 times it has asked the same question, the quotation of Kalam Saab, that if you want a nation corruption free and something like that, then the role of father, mother and teacher is the most important. So now I believe you have many examples to write. Yes, example from the perspective of father and mother, and example from the perspective of teachers also. Many examples you have that how the teachers can create lot of difference. Understood or not? Yes. So I will give you another very good case study. Very good case study. All of you know her, Helen Keller. Great author. She was from the childhood only. She was suffering from so many problems. She could not see, she could not hear, so many problems. And her teacher was Annie Sullivan. And Annie Sullivan, she inculcated this patience and perseverance in her. You imagine teaching someone who cannot hear you, who cannot, read things because she was blind. You imagine how difficult it would have been for her, her teacher, Annie Sullivan. So empathy, love of learning, patience and perseverance, these are the values that Annie Sullivan inculcated in Helen Keller. And later, she also stood for the rights of disability. She was a disability activist because she realized importance of empathy and what positive impact, you can create if you are truly empathetic and compassionate. Understood? So that is a great story that you can write, that the impact of teacher on the student. You imagine it from the perspective that the child is neither able to, listen or nor able to read. How then you will teach her? It would have taken lot of determination, lot of courage, lot of empathy on the part of any soul. And of course, those values were translated to Helen Keller also. Understood? Yes. So now all of us know lot many examples for teacher. If I just ask you to give me the name of 5 to 6 great teachers, I am sure you will be able to give me the name of 5 to 6 great teachers with great examples. Yes? And then you will write great answer. And now when you are writing the answer, you will not just be writing the name of the teacher, you will be also talking about the attributes, the ways through which right set of values are inculcated, be it pedagogy, being role modeling, be it observation behavior, so be it creating a positive environment, be it, that acting as a surrogate parent or mother or mentor. Understood or not? Yes. So that is the role of teacher that is there in terms of inculcation of right set of values. समझ में आ रहा आपको? Now we have discussed about teachers. I will give you time to note it down, but let me complete this topic first. So overall school we have learned that yes, these are the values that we are learning: discipline, cleanliness, everything, cooperation, tolerance, and yes, this is the role of teachers. What about curriculum? Now let us learn that through curriculum also we get to learn so many values. Through curriculum also, we get to learn so many values. Let us talk about science. Until and unless we learn that how the eclipse, solar eclipse and everything, they happen geographically, scientifically. Before that there were mythological explanation for that, the role of Rahu, Ketu and everything. That perhaps it is because of that eclipses are happening. But now we know and there's scientific explanation to that. So that is how we get rational understanding of various natural world phenomena. And that is how it inculcates scientific temper in us. Yes? Talking about scientific temper, let me give you an important fact. In our areas, whenever, suppose a snake bites someone, usually what happens? Where will you take the person? Usually it is taken to Ojhas. Yes, snake charmers. Usually people will take that person to snake charmers because they will tell that that person has cured so many people. Now I will give you some facts, scientific facts. Of course, this fact all of you would know that 70% of the snakes are non-venomous. Yes? This is a fact that all of us know, that 70% of the snakes are non-venomous. Another important fact is 80% of the bites are dry bites. So 80% time any snake is biting you, he will not be injecting any venom in you, he is simply scaring you. So out of the remaining 30% venomous snake, chances are 80%, the 24%, 30% into 80%, CSAT, mathematics. Yes. So if a snake is bitten, 94% chance is there that you will not have venom in your blood. So if you take that person to any Ojha or even to me, 94% time I will be right, I will cure that person. Because there is nothing to cure about. Only 6% time, I will be wrong, but then I will say, you bought him so late. So now you understand this, that how does science help you? Science helps you bust so many myths that are there. So science helps us in rational thinking, objectivity, scientific temper. You talk about environmental studies. Now that we understand the importance of climate change and global warming, that we are now able to interlink the extreme climate events that we are facing and our daily actions which are contributing to climate change. Now we can link that cause and consequences, we can identify. That it is because of that we are facing so many extreme events. You see, winter this year were harsh. Summer were also harsh. Rainy season, you see, lot of floods were there. So now we understand that the extreme climate was there. and it was all because of climate change. So it is only because when you are studying environment, you are understanding this phenomena. So that is how curriculum helps you in inculcation of right set of values, that you know that water is limited and perhaps you will try to conserve water. So that is how you will get the environmental conservation, sustainability as an important value. We talk about social science. Yes, all of us know about Akbar and Aurangzeb. Yes, Akbar was a very tolerant ruler. Yes, whenever he married any Rajput princess, he never imposed his religion on her. He had this immense respect for the people from different faiths. So much so that he invited religious leaders of different faiths, for the discussion in Ibadat Khana. Ibadat Khana was a place where he will have all these such discussions. He also propounded Deen-e-Ilahi, by taking various good elements from the different religion. So he was a very tolerant leader, and because of that, he was able to forge right set of relationship with all the people. But then you talk about Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was intolerant, differentiated between Shia and Sunni. Yes, imposed jizya, poll tax, everything. And you see what happened. There were so many revolts in his empire, and just after him, the Mughal empire simply crumbled because he was not able to hold on to the empire. So now, from this historical perspective, we understand the importance of tolerance as a value. Tolerance as a value. I will give another very good case study. History. Yes, history is a great teacher. You talk about the problem of language. Just after India got independence, there was problem of language. Yes, many of the states wanted that they should be reorganized or new states should be formed on the basis of language. One person, I think, he died. Potti, yes, he died because he wanted to create a separate state for the Telugu people. Of course, language is a very sensitive issue, and government of India tackled that. Yes, created some states, did not create many states, and so forth, but it tackled the problem. And you compare it with the East Pakistan and West Pakistan. Now, they did not tackle that problem, and see what happened. After 1917 war, Pakistan had to lose eastern part of it. We talk about Sri Lanka. So many rights are there between, Sinhalese and the Tamil minority. So, because we were able to address many issues, we could avoid these conflicts. That is what history teaches us. Regionalism, if I'm talking about, if you are able to, if you are sensitive to regional issues, then you will be forging the nation together instead of disintegrating that. So that is a great case study that you can quote in the paper 1 also, in the context of regionalism also, by comparing Sri Lanka and Pakistan and India. That is what we can learn from the social science. Then art and craft, it encourages creativity, encourages all this innovation, that you are able to think out of box. Moral science, dedicatedly chapters are there. All of us, have gone through so many stories, rabbit and tortoise and everything, that now we know the importance of all those things. So now we know that curriculum itself plays a great role in terms of inculcation of right set of values. Understood? Yes, everyone, online walo, understood? But then curriculum is not enough. Let us talk about one more aspect, and that is extracurricular activities. That schools and colleges, through extracurricular activities, they also help in inculcation of right set of values. Let us talk about sports. This is my fundamental belief, that the people who have never played any sport, they will have lot of difficult time in accepting defeat. Imagine a person who have excelled throughout his life, academically. He was first in the school, college, gold medalist and everything. But later when he comes to UPSC examination, it humbles. The examination humbles that person. Year after year, facing failure. So, if he is facing the failure for the first time, it will be very, very difficult for him to cope up with the failure. But you talk about the sportsman. One of the very important value that any sport teaches us is sportsmanship. That yes, you win some time and you lose some time. It is okay, it is happen that you lose some time, that you accept defeat. You lose some time not because you were bad, you lose some time because someone else was better on that day. I will give you the example of javelin throw that we all witnessed, yes? Now when this Arshad Nadeem, when he got 92 meter, what was the first thought that was there? In my thought, I thought that gold was gone. Because, that much of range, it was very difficult to anticipate from Neeraj because he had never, went behind 90 mark. So, and that day, Arshad Nadeem was brilliant. He was far miles ahead of Neeraj actually. His second best throw, was also miles ahead of the best throw of Neeraj. So when we accepted that defeat, we accepted with utmost humility that yes, at times we lose because someone else is brilliant on that day. And that is what we need to understand. In last Olympic, you were great on that day and you got gold medal. So that is what sports teaches us. At times you win, at times you lose. And that is how you need to bounce back when you are losing. That is very, very important. You talk about India, we lost World Cup final. Yes, last year. But then you see in this year, it would have taken a lot of courage for them to, again stand up and fight and then in the final. So that is what sports teaches us. Team spirit teaches us, respecting others' efforts also because, maybe that person has played well, far better than you. So that is what sport teaches us. Social activities, at times there are so many activities that are there at schools and college level. Human chain rallies that are there. Yes, afforestation, tree plantation drive that is there. So because blood donation camp that is there. So because of NCC, NSS camp, activities that are there. So because of that, you get to learn so many values. I remember that was the first question, I think PK Joshi sir asked me that I was NCC. So what has NCC taught you? So you learn so many values from NCC, NSS and all these social activities. Because when you yourself indulging in that, you realize the importance of that. So social activities, cultural activities. In Labasana, if you go, there's celebration of different states' cultural diversity. So you get to learn the values of tolerance, unity and diversity. Different activities like debate, by engaging in debate, again you get to know the other's perspective. Poem recitation and everything. So basically, through extracurricular activities also, you are able to learn so many great values. So now you know how you will be breaking down the question when you are writing on the role of education institution in inculcation of values. Yes? Family, teachers, curricular activity, extracurricular activity, and schools and colleges as a whole, the environment that they provide. Yes? So now you please note it, then we will discuss the downside of it. That why exactly schools and colleges, they are falling behind. That was the first rule of society it is. Yes. From here. Or you want to note this also? Or that is up to you. Online walo, have you understood everyone? More than the content, what is important is that as soon as you see the question on EI, that is how you will be dividing your answer. That is what you need to learn in these classes. Slowly, after we have covered few topics, then we will start the interlinkages also, and it will help you. Just try to remember the interlinkages. Done? This part done? Okay. Done? You remember these case studies? At least you should write any of the case study out of 3 case studies, and the role of teachers, Helen Keller also you can write, and all these teachers are a great example of that. S.C. Verma you can quote because he was awarded by the government only. Done everyone? क्या करें? Last line is just creating a positive environment. That create the learning environment that is positive. It is our teacher only. Done? Very good case study. I think all these case studies that we are discussing, they can make great anecdote for essay also. Great anecdote for essay also. Done? Yes. You need not write all the examples in the examination. 1 or 2 examples will suffice, and this will be 1 point, role of curriculum. Regarding the class on 30th, I have asked them that if they can make the classroom available in the morning. If it is there, then you will have the class, otherwise you will not have the class. Okay. I think it will not make much difference. Yeah, it will not make much difference because Friday, Sunday are already accounted for, and only 2-3 days difference it will make in terms of final. You will see if we have to take class on Friday, Sunday, I will take, in case we need that. Done? Done? So now that we have discussed that education institutions, they share great responsibility, and there are many positive values that they can inculcate in the students. There are ways to do that. There is a great role that is played by teachers, curricular, extracurricular activities, and the school and colleges as a whole. Then still we are seeing that teachers, the environment is not able to inculcate right set of values. Yes? So what are those reasons? Because just as in family we discuss the critical part, that the role models are not there, the observation is often wrong, the family structure, it is changing a lot, role of technology. So we discussed there also that what are the dynamic aspect of the family as an institution, because of which it is not able to inculcate right set of values. Let us discuss why exactly education institutions are not able to inculcate right set of values. Okay, so let us look from the perspective of education sector as a whole. Education sector as a whole. Now, if you talk about, just listen to me carefully, baad mein note karna. If you talk about education sector as a whole, we see there is a lot of emphasis on exam performance. Since our childhood, what is the one thing that we are often asked to accomplish? That we have to do well in our examination. That we should have good percentage, we should be in merit, something like that. So, exam performance is the target, exam performance is the value that we are asked. So, that exam performance may not always translate into real life skills or real life values. We see, majority of the engineers are unemployable because they do not have real skills. So, because we are focusing on exam performance, because we are focusing on rote learning, and that is why creativity, that is why innovation, does not form part of values that we are able to inculcate from our education system, because a lot of emphasis on rote learning and exam performance is there. Then there is emphasis on commodification of education. You understand commodification? Commodification is basically means what? Commodification means something that can be bought and sold. So in earlier times, let's talk about 200 years back. Earlier times we could not possibly think, that we can buy or sell water. But now water has also become commodity. We can buy or sell it. Humans were commodity when slave trade was there. So now education has also become commodity. So it is because of the failure of the government, because education is a public good. And because of that, it does not inculcate right set of values. You talk about paper leak. Suppose you are asked to analyze paper leak from ethical perspective. Of course, you will be blaming government, regulatory authorities, and everyone. Or my dear students, I would like to ask, whether paper leaks can exist if all the students collectively believe that we don't want papers, leaked papers. Paper leaks are existing because there is a demand for leaked papers. Paper leaks are existing because a section of students and their parents and their families, they want to perform examination even without working hard for it. Exam performance. Understood or not? So that is why, because in real life, that is what we are focusing upon. In a similar parlance, if we talk about money, that we are focusing so much on earning money that even corruption is justifiable to us in the context of administration. Similarly, in the context of context of education, we are focusing so much on grades. We are focusing so much of exam performance, competition, rather than the real life skills, real life values. And that is why you see, as the topic was there in 16, that education without values makes a man more clever devil. That if you are someone who is educated with a lot of skills, but you are not having the right set of values, then you will be more clever devil. You will be far more dangerous to the society than an illiterate fool, because you have a lot of capacity to do. You talk about cyber hackers, they have a lot of skills. But if their heart is not at the right place, they are of immoral character, then what will happen? They will do wrong things only, yes or no? So, from education sector perspective, we know that we are failing. Collectively, we are failing. Then you talk about governance. From government angle, we see often there is manipulation of curriculum. Curriculum, which is a great way to impart right set of values. But imagine if we tinker with the curriculum in such a fashion, then how can we ensure that we are inculcating right set of values? Understood? You talk about this controversy in SCRT books, they're calling Christ a demon. If you can recall, I'm sure you would have gone through French Revolution. What was the one thing that Napoleon did after getting to the power? It changed the curriculum of the schools and colleges, because that is the way to influence entire society, because that is the next generation that is sitting right there. And he changed the curriculum to espouse the values of nationalism, extreme nationalism, to ensure there is glorification of Napoleon the ruler. So now you understand why curriculum is very important. Do you know about Meiji Revolution in Japan? So there also great role was played by education, because of which it was able to get the Industrial Revolution done so quickly. All these great case studies I just told you. So you must understand how much gravity the issue, how serious the issue is when you are tinkering with the curriculum, because you are imparting wrong set of values in the children. Curriculum. It is Meiji Revolution, और क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Meiji Restoration. I think MEITJI, something like that. The question was there in the UPSC, that how come Japan was able to industrialize so quickly. So the great role was played by that. Yes, we can give all the example of the rulers who tinkered with the curriculum to make themselves semi-god, because that's how important the curriculum is. You talk about teacher training, of course, pedagogy, because many teachers, they are themselves not trained in terms of teaching right set of things. How will they train the entire set of generation? Understood? Teacher training, lack of teacher training that is there. And because of that, you see, learning poverty, is increasing like anything. So when we are writing this answer, that why our education sector is failing together, why the EI, education institutions, they are not able to play the great role, we will be discussing from the perspective of failure on the part of education sector as a whole, failure on the part of governance, and then failure on the part of schools and colleges. We talk about this, If you see this, if the schools and colleges themselves are promoting, cheating like anything, how will they promote the right set of values? Because if you look at this picture, what this picture is promoting and emphasizing is just exam performance. It is a board exam that is being conducted, that is there, and the schools is supporting that. Open cheating that is happening. So basically, that is the failure of the school together. Then schools and colleges, they do not take care of the extracurricular activities. In various schools and colleges, they exist just to teach you subjects. They will not take extracurricular activities so seriously, and that are great ways that have lot of tools to inculcate right set of values. And that is how they will miss out upon. I will give you a parallel. When you are criticizing India's poor higher education standard, yes, in the paper 2, when you write the answer to that, don't you write that most of our higher education institutions are teaching institutions? What does it mean? They are only emphasizing on teaching rather than exploring research, rather than making labs an integral part of the curriculum. Similar thing here, that the curriculum, mostly it is focusing on curriculum aspect. Extracurricular activities are neglected. Emotional and psychological needs of the students are neglected by the schools and colleges. There is a lot of emphasis on the academic part. At times there is discrimination in schools. You would have seen, the Dalit students, they are made to sit separately from other students in government schools at times. At times, students, they simply refuse to eat midday meal that is cooked by a Dalit cook, and their teachers also support them. Then how will that institute inculcate right set of values, or that you should not discriminate among the individuals on the basis of caste? Understood? So schools and colleges as a whole, they also are not playing that great role in terms of value inculcation, and that is why we are failing in our society. Talk about teachers. All of you know this example. This teacher, she was beating this poor fellow mercilessly. So they indulge in this physical punishment, corporal punishment, so much so that basically they are venting out their own frustration, their own inability to understand the problems of the children. Arey bhai, you are much more experienced, much more older. You have a lot of skills at your hand. You must understand his perspective. But instead, you are just venting out your frustration on that poor child. So basically, it is lack of your own capacity because of which, you are indulging in this corporal punishment, and you are neglecting again the emotional aspect of the children. Verbal abuse. Many teachers, they indulge in verbal sexual abuse of the children. You see, how will these teachers impart the values of gender equality? All the values of that you should respect women. So they themselves, they are discriminating amongst students. Teachers themselves discriminate among the students. They themselves promote patriarchy and casteism through their behavior. They themselves really are not great role models. And that is how children also do not learn good values. Various government teachers, they will tell you that tuitions, please come to the tuitions. We will not teach you here. In government schools, they will just go there and do the time pass, and they will ask you to come to the tuitions, although they are paid to teach there. So, tuitions. Similarly, you talk about students. It is not the case that all fault lies with the teachers, schools, government and everyone. Students also plays a great role. You talk about ragging, bullying. You have heard of so many instances. Ragging and bullying is there of the children, and that because of that, some students faces emotional trauma for the rest of their life. They do not have self-confidence. So, bullying, they indulge in slangs, racial slangs. So it is not the case that the teachers, they indulge in unfair means that the student themselves, they are really God. They also have some role to play in terms of why our education institutions are not able to fulfill great role in terms of value inculcation. So now, suppose in that question, education without values makes, in the top essay topic, that as education without values makes a man more clever devil. And suppose you have to answer, one part of the essay will be that why our education system is failing. Then now you know how many dimensions to write from. You will talk about the education sector as a whole. Basically, you can talk about a society. You can represent by society also. Society generally prioritizing rote learning, exam performance. Role of society, role of governance, role of teacher, role of students, and role of schools and colleges. Understood or not? So that is how you will be dividing your answer. Again, it should not be the monolithic answer. You should subdivide your answer in various dimensions whenever you are writing on schools and colleges. Understood or not? Yes? So now please note it. ऑनलाइन वालों समझ में आ रहा है? ऑल ऑफ यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड? उदित नवंबर essay I cannot teach like that. In November we'll see something. Let's see. I hope you are understanding not just the content but the application of it, that how you will be writing the answer if the question comes. Yes? Yes, sir. Can I change it? Done? Okay, so see, whenever we are talking about that role of society in terms of value inculcation, yes? Role of society in terms of value inculcation. So, we discussed the role of family, yes? We discussed the role of education institutions, yes? Similarly, there is role played by media, there is role played by religion, there is role played by political leaders, there is role played by government, yes, role played by NGO. So basically, value inculcation is something that is impacted by different stakeholders. So if the question is asked that the society is facing tremendous scarcity of value inculcation, critically analyze, then you will be writing answer not just from the perspective of family and education institutions. That is something that you need to remember. Maybe your first point can be family, and you can subdivide that in terms of one or two aspects, that are technology and changing family structure. Second point can be role of education institutions, and there perhaps you can subdivide your answer in 2 or 3 points. 1 point teacher, 1 point extracurricular activity, maybe 2-3 lines from here, and then role of media, then role of. So in all such questions, your focus should be to enhance dimensions rather than depth in any particular dimension, because this is such a broad question that require broad dimensions. Understood or not? Only when the question is asked on the family, then only you will go into great detail. Only when the question is asked in the context of education institutions, then only we will go into this detail. Understood or not? In the essay of value inculcation, let's say essay is there, in that we will talk about from these many angles. Understood or not? Yes? Yes, doubt पूछ लीजिए, अगले टॉपिक पे चलेंगे. पूछ लीजिए, बताइए क्या डाउट है. Yes, please ask doubt. History is the victory of won by scientific man over the romantic man. Can we mention history as a subject importance? This is not just about the history in the context of academic subject. The history is about the historical lessons that we have to learn. This theme of scientific man and romantic man is very, very important theme. And we will discuss that, some part of that in the context of objectivity. Because a scientific man is basically talking about objectivity, while romantic man is talking about aspirations, idealism and everything. We'll discuss that theme, don't worry. I did not understand what corporal punishment means in the context of teachers. Okay, I will give you a parallel. Okay, I think most of you would have seen various web series are there. Yes, police investigation, it happens. So police investigation is basically a skill. Suppose there is someone to interrogate and you want to interrogate that person. So interrogation is a skill, that you need to master by asking different sort of questions and then eliciting the response and see the contradiction in the response and then see the clarification, and so on and so forth. But most of our constables lack those skills, and because of that, they take substitute in terms of some sort of third degree measures. So they will be physically torturing the person to submit himself, that their person should say something. So basically, since they are not skilled in terms of this negotiation and the interrogation, they are resorting to a shortcut of beating someone. So the teachers, they are supposed to be skilled, so much so that there is no such need for it. Punishment, yes, it is required, but she was mercilessly beating this fellow child. So now you understand, Ragini? Corporal punishment. Any other doubt? Any other doubt? Sir, we need to answer any question on the value inculcation from different perspective. See, it depends upon the question. See, whatever I am telling you, I am creating scenarios. The question comes like that, that is how you should apply. Question comes like that, that is how you should apply. Which environmental side? Did I discuss any environmental side? Which environmental side? Huh? रोल ऑफ करिकुलम. अरे भाई ये तो बहुत आसान है, इसमें क्या है, आप हिंदू पेपर पढ़ रहे हो कि नहीं पढ़ रहे हो? क्लाइमेट चेंज आपको दिख रहा होगा डेली पढ़ते हुए. यस. So maybe now you can understand that because of global warming and climate change, so many extreme events are there. So you should try to reduce your carbon footprint. So now you understand the importance of conservation of environment. That is what it is. So through subjects, we actually get to understand. For example, if you ask tribals, if you ask tribals that why we should conserve forest, they will have different reasons. They will say our ancestors lived there, and we love forest. They may not know the role of a forest in terms of regulating all these cycles and reducing the impact of climate change. But because of science, because we do not believe in their ancestors, we don't believe in their form of worship. But because of science, we understand in the importance of forest for the climate change. So that is the role of science. More answers I will discuss in the context of a specific question. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for me to give any generic answer. Sir, ये लिख देना चाहिए क्या? It depends upon the question. So I will take those questions in your section answer writing only. Don't worry. Any other doubt? Subheading, yes. Subheading and everything is part of answer writing. You ask whatever I have discussed from that. एक क्लास के बच्चे बोर हो रहे हैं, इनको नींद आ रही है, इनको आधे को जल्दी जल्दी पूछो जिसको पूछना है. चलो ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं. So let us see the important role that is played by government in terms of inculcation of values. Because government also plays great role. Yes? So now we have discussed operant conditioning. What was operant conditioning? Yes, reinforcement of a particular behavior. That if you are rewarding certain behavior, that it means we should do that. Yes? So we should prioritize that. We should keep on doing that. But if you are not prioritizing that, if you are getting punished for that, then you should not prefer it. It should not be part of your value. It should not be part of your preference. Understood? So government through its acts tells you that this is what you should not indulge in. For example, if you are friend with someone who is from SC/ST community, then even though he or she is your friend, then also you should not use slurs against that person, because that is illegal. That is illegal. That is not just inhuman, it is also illegal. So through the deterrent value, through the punishment, it is actually deterring you from saying such things. On the other hand, if you do something well, it may reward you. We discussed that how Professor S.C. Verma was rewarded. We have discussed how various people have been rewarded by the civilian awards. When you do something good, you are rewarded by the government. So that is how government is promoting the good behavior or good values. As an executive government indulging in various campaigns, you talk about Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, or you talk about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. After Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, we have understood that how government is emphasizing on the values of cleanliness. Give It Up campaign is basically talking about selflessness, that you should give it up your LPG subsidy if you don't need it anymore. So the point is, the government through its various actions and policies, it is actually influencing the value inculcation. Understood? Understood? Similarly, let us talk about culture. Culture in general. You talk about Rajasthan. You go to Rajasthan. Padharo Mare Desh is a popular tradition that is there. So it is expected that we should respect our guests. We should respect them. We should treat them with utmost dignity. Padharo Mare Desh. In various tribal cultures, of Rajasthan, especially, this thing is there, that various songs that are dedicated to conservation of water. So basically, the importance of conservation of water is inculcated through 4 songs. Talk about Vishnoi community, Yes, they also have all these folk songs and folk stories to tell to their children that all of us should conserve environment. And that is how these values are inculcated. Understood? So that's how important culture is. If you are born as a Jain, in Jainism, this Syadvad is there. You understand Syadvad? It tells you that there is no one universal answer. There can be multiple versions of truth. And that is how it actually asks you to be tolerant of others' perspective. Understood? Syadvad. So basically, culture is a way to actually influence your value inculcation. Here you can also include the role of religion. Jainism is religion only. And that is how we can inculcate right set of values. Understood? Similarly, if we discuss the importance of media, cinema, films, that media also plays a great role in terms of inculcation of right set of values. Now in English, there is a Syadvad is basically that to answer to any question, the answer is Shayad, perhaps. So basically, it gives the latitude that there can be multiple answers to the same question. So basically, so that people don't quarrel over one universal truth. There is no universal truth, it is subjective. Tolerance is there. So now let us talk about role of media in terms of inculcation of values. Now in English, there is a saying. The saying is, what the eyes do not see, the heart does not grieve about. जो हमको आंखों से नहीं देखता है, हृदय उसके लिए नहीं रोता है. What the eyes do not see, the heart does not grieve about. So in the lockdown, all of us know the kind of problems migrants faced. Yes, all of us know that. And when migrants faced those problems, we were very empathetic towards them. Yes, we felt the pain. But how did we get to know about it? Because we were in the lockdown. Through media only. How did we get to know about the Manipur incident or for that Kolkata matter? Through media only. So that is the role of media, to shape up public opinion, to spread the awareness, to make the issue that is relevant to the public, So when, migrant crisis, when we saw that on TV, then we understood the problems these people were facing. What the eyes do not see, the heart does not grieve about. So basically, media is helping us see the things thoroughly. It is shaping our public opinion. It also helps in solidarity, in terms of inculcation of very important value of solidarity and cooperation. You talk about second COVID wave, in various Twitter or various social media, there were so many helplines in terms of availability of oxygen cylinder, in terms of availability of beds, hospital beds. Lot many people were helping each other. So that is a good use of media, and that how it promoted solidarity. We felt that all of us are together. I give the example of this World Cup, 2020 World Cup that we won. Whenever such incident happened, don't all of us feel that this triumph is ours also. All of us are feeling one, irrespective whether we are from Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, or any part of, or whether we are from any community. Because all of us believe in this idea that all of us are in this together, solidarity. When the Chandrayaan mission was there last year, there were so many prayers that are happening across the country. Why? Because all of us were believing in this solidarity, that yes, all of us are in together. And that is why in the previous mission, when we were not able to soft land the mission, we were all dejected. We felt that. So media helps in inculcation of values of solidarity and cooperation. अरे बताया ना, what the eyes do not see, eyes, आँख, what the eyes do not see, the heart does not grieve about. So solidarity and cooperation is another important value that we are able to learn from the social media or media. Then reinforcement of shared values and traditions. Actually, we get to experience and learn so many diverse traditions through media. You talk about Republic Parade. There are so many exhibitions from different states, and that's how we get to know the different cultural traditions of the state, and we get to respect that. And that is how we get to celebrate unity and diversity of our country. Similar things happen when you join Labasna. There are celebration of different state festivals. So reinforcement of shared values and traditions, it is all possible because of media. Similarly, you talk about, tolerance and diversity in terms of exposure to different aspects. Now you talk about this Bahubali movie, Can you imagine 20 years back or maybe 30 years back that we will get to celebrate a South Indian movie pan-India? So many South Indian, you talk about Kantara, you talk about all those South Indian movies that are now celebrated and watched, in the entire nation. It is because of media only that we get to know their culture. In Kantara, this dance is there, at the end of the movie. So we get to witness that different culture without going there. So that is the role of, yes, cricket match is an example of that only. Yes, that is the great example of diversity and building of tolerance. Scientific temper, all these National Geography, all these channels, scientific channels that are there, they promote scientific temper. Eradication of stereotype, this Dangal movie that was there, that Mari Chori Choron se kam hai kya? Our girl child is no less than the boys. So basically that was a way to tell the people that girls are equal. They can also take part in wrestling and wins medals for our country. So eradication of stereotype, another important aspect. Then promotion of justice as a value. Collectively, justice as a value means collectively all of us are preferring justice. I'll give you an example of Me Too. When in this wave, various incidents of Me Too came into the public light. What did we feel? We feel that, these people, they should get justice. Because now they have mustered courage to tell all these things. They should get justice. So justice was being promoted by media. And it inspired similarly situated women to open up about their incident as well. So that is how justice as a value was promoted by media. Accountability, talk about all these scams, Jan Lokpal movement, India against corruption. Media played great role in terms of enhancing participation of people, in terms of ensuring accountability, because media plays, the role of fourth pillar of democracy. Understood? Similarly, you talk about journalists. Journalists, through their behavior, they inculcate the value of courage and determination. We talk about, Gauri Lankesh and Sujat Vikhari, who were killed because of what they believe in. They had such courage of conviction in their ideas, their bold journalism. Ultimately, it got them killed. And they inspired many journalists that, that are out there, that you to be bold and independent in what you are doing. So now we have seen the positive aspect of media, that how media is helping to inculcate right set of values. But then, as we have discussed with respect to other parts, media, of course, is not that good also. Not many bad values media is inculcating. We talk about gender stereotyping. Until I think recent time, usually you will see all the ads of Surf Excel, everything. You will see there is only female who are participating in that ad. Basically, telling the people that household responsibility is the responsibility of women only. Basically, strengthening the notion of patriarchy. In all these web series and movies, women, they're often seen as sex symbols. So basically, you are not treating women as an end in themselves, Kant. You are not treating women as an end in themselves. You are using them as a means. You are not respecting their dignity. You talk about media trials in the case of Sushant Singh Rajput. How it deviated from the principle of natural justice. Ego chamber impact we have discussed. Yes? Discussed? No? That suppose if we believe in something that is wrong, some stereotype we have, some prejudice we have towards any community, and we get the WhatsApp forward that relates to that community only, that instead of questioning that, we tend to believe in that. Ki hua hi hoga. That is basically accentuating our biases. Then violation of privacy, communal jihad, UPSC love jihad, everything. So basically media is also not that great place. So it also has its own role in terms of not imparting right set of values. Understood? Understood or not? So that is the role of media. So now, suppose if you have to write that a society has failed, or society has failed to make environment safe for the girls. The broad question is there: the society has failed in terms of making environment safe for girls. Then you will talk about from the reference of different stakeholders. Yes, you will talk about how media has failed. You will talk about how government has also failed, because if acts, all these actions that was there, if it is, acting as a deterrent, but if the justice is not there timely, then it fails to create the deterrence. So that is the role of government in not making the environment safe for the women. Then similarly, the role of family, understood? Role of family, role of institutions. So that is how you will be writing your answer, by dividing your answer from different perspectives, that how different stakeholders are failing in their duties. Understood or not? Yes? So now you please note it. कहाँ से note कराना? यहाँ से, I think. So media, I think we have discussed from the perspective of media ethics, in which now we know what are the expected ethical standards that we should follow. We have also discussed from the positive perspective that how media can inculcate right set of values, and we have also discussed from the negative perspective that how it is failing. So media as a topic is now comprehensively covered. I am sure if you revise it well, you will write a great answer to this question. Done? 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 So now let us move to the next topic. Lessons from the lives and teachings of leaders and administrators, and after that, aptitude and foundation values for civil services. Now this particular topic, there are two types of questions that can be asked. बात करें? Okay. So now there are two types of questions that can be asked. One type is that you need to know the specific of a leader. For example, Gandhian sins. So unless you know 7 sins, you will never get marks. Yes? So the teachings of Savitribai Phule. So until you know the teachings, you will not get marks. Yes? So that is one type of question. Another type of question is that the question is very generic in nature, and you have to use their teachings to supplement your answer as an example or case study. Understood? Now, this first type of question, it does not come every year. For example, this year, no such question was there. Yes, it come, I think only very few times it has come, question like this. So that is why it is not actually appropriate that we read so many thinkers and leaders. Because let's say if you prepare even 50 thinkers for that matter, 50 leaders for that matter, what is the guarantee that UPSC will ask that question? What is the guarantee that if UPSC asks that question, it will be from the first 50, it can be 55th or 56th, that you did not study. And more importantly, since you have covered so many thinkers, what is the guarantee that you will remember it in the examination hall? So my advice to you would be that you limit your number of leaders and administrators that you are preparing for this topic. But you prepare them very well. Okay, that will be my advice to you. So now let us start one of the great leader, Gandhiji. That what are the values that we can learn from Gandhiji? Let us start from him. When we are discussing all these stories, it is not just important to know their teachings, it is equally important to know the story from their life that reflect those teachings. Because anyone can write non-violence of Gandhiji, but to write, withdrawal of non-cooperation movement because of violence, it is separate argument. So you need to know the specific, then only you will be able to write more specific example. Understood? So you must know the story behind the value and how that value is demonstrated through the life of Gandhiji. Now all these pictures are actually from the Sabarmati Ashram only. Okay, I went to ODI World Cup final last year, and after the great experience, next day I had to go to Gandhian Ashram, for peace. And there are many people like me, who were there getting peace in his ashram. And all these people were discussing, इतना स्लो क्यों खेले? एक चौका नहीं लगाया बीच में. So the point is, all these pictures are from his ashram only. All these stories are true stories and the source is that ashram only. Yes, so one of the important value that we can learn is honesty and integrity. Yes, all of us know that Gandhiji had this great ashram, Sabarmati ashram, and that was his, in his name. So at time, his grandchildren, they would come to the ashram and stay. So when it happened for the first time, Gandhiji asked his wife that please deposit, the money for their stay in the ashram fund. Now his wife was surprised, because the ashram is in the name of Gandhiji only, and why is he asking that the grandchildren who are, staying at the ashram, that they should pay for their stay? So she was very much surprised, and then, Gandhiji instead, asked that, no, we have to deposit because this ashram is made of public funds and we are trustee of the resources. It is made on the trust. People trust us. So Gandhiji then, every time they were there, Gandhiji will be paying for their stay. So it reflects honesty and integrity. You know the barometer of integrity? The integrity actually means wholesomeness of the character. That you are following all the moral principles, even when no one is watching. Even when no one is watching is a very important yardstick of integrity. So it is a good example of integrity because no one asked Gandhiji to deposit that money, and I am sure if Gandhiji had not asked that himself, no one would have dared to ask him that you please deposit fund for your grandchildren's stay. And that is why it is a great example of integrity, that even though he had the option of not paying, still he paid. Understood? Understood or not? So that is why it is a great example of integrity and honesty. Similarly, once Gandhiji expelled his own sister from the ashram. Can you imagine how difficult it would have been? Expelling one's own sister? Yes, her sister, she came to live with the Gandhiji. And when she came to live with the Gandhiji, during that time only, one Harijan family by the name of Dudabai, it also came to ashram to live with them. Dudabai. It is written over there, Dudabai. Harijan teacher, Dudabai and his family. So, his sister, she refused to eat with them. And she said, she asked permission from the Gandhiji, can I eat, separately from them? I don't want to eat alongside them. And Gandhi said that this is not possible, I am against untouchability. And that's why, Gandhiji said that you have to leave the ashram otherwise. And then she left the ashram. So that is why it is the great example of honesty and integrity, because again, if he had allowed, his sister to, let's say, eat outside or something like that, then I'm sure no one would have asked question from Gandhiji, because he was such a tall leader at that point of time. But despite that, he asked, his own sister that you please, go. If you are not respecting the ashram's rules, that we will not be encouraging untouchability. Understood? ये संग संग लिखते रहो इसको. अच्छा ये फोटो लेंगे, ठीक है? That will also do because it is there in the photo. Similarly, Gandhiji was very tolerant, very open-mindedness and tolerant. He said that various of his views, they are influenced by Western education. Of course, he was a barrister, so his views on law, democracy, everything influenced by Western education. Tolstoy, he had great impact on him. And he also said that I have learned from my own wife. Let us look at what he's saying. See, I think this can be the confession of every patriarchal husband who later understand the importance of gender equality. You see how beautifully he has narrated, and you imagine the kind of courage it would have required on his part to say that. Just read it with me, okay? That it was from my wife that I learned the lesson of ahimsa, because I had always tried to make her bend to my wishes. On the one hand, she would firmly refuse to do so. She would not bend to my wishes. On the other, patiently bear with all the hardship that I would inflict on her in my obstinacy. Because as a husband, he was believing that he had his right. And if the wife is not following that, then he would inflict some punishment. And it was her peaceful opposition that opened my eyes. I felt ashamed of myself and was rid of the foolish notion that it is my birthright to rule over her. Can you imagine? We, when not even many people know us, we cannot, we do not usually open up, with respect to our own mistakes. But you imagine a person of his stature, opening up of such mistake in front of everyone. Now, many people, especially, who are taking their degree from WhatsApp University, they criticize Gandhiji on so many accounts. But I'm telling you, it is the most easy thing to do to criticize a great man. What have you done in your life? What contribution have you made to this country? God has given you one mouth and you are misusing it. Just because you have a tongue does not mean you have to use it. Yes? So basically, Gandhiji, he was such a, man of such a, stature. But we criticize. जबरदस्ती criticism है. Because ideological difference. तभी तो हमारी बात बनेगी. Yes, so, but you look at him with utmost respect because we get to learn so. You imagine what kind of person would admit such things. You imagine. A person of that stature is admitting, that he was not behaving very properly with his wife. And then how he learned that lesson. That's how we learn the values of humility from him. Yes? So, he was open-mindedness and tolerance was there with respect to other belief pattern, and then how he actually, imbibed that he was learning so many things from so many cultures. Understood? Another important value is non-violence. Of course, non-violence, all of us know. When he was talking about non-violence, he was talking about that we should not indulge in violence either, verbally or, we should not even think bad about ourselves, about others, and of course, actions. And he was so adamant on being non-violent that he even withdrew the Chauri Chaura movement, the non-cooperation movement when Chauri Chaura event happened. You imagine what kind of pressure he would have faced. He was a leader of the movement. He had promised the people, first movement he was leading, at the first grand scale level. Imagine that he had promised the people that we will get independence very soon. And all the people are rallying behind him because they believe in him, the leader. And that leader is saying that we will not continue the movement because the movement has now turned violent. But all the young leaders, including Jawaharlal Nehru and everyone, they were saying, no, we should continue the movement. And imagine what kind of courage or conviction it would have required on the part of Gandhiji to say that, no, we will withdraw the movement from here. And that's how integral he was. That's how much he believed in the principle that, mass-based movement, they cannot be violence-based because otherwise it will be suppressed by the people, by the authorities. Understood? Non-violence. Then he also believed in difference between honesty and integrity. I will tell you later. I think in the next class it will come. Then forgiveness. Now Gandhiji, we have all heard of it. Hate the sin and not the sinner. Forgiveness. Now I will tell you a story of Gandhiji about forgiveness. Now when Gandhiji was in South Africa, he was campaigning against some government action, And there were some rumors that, this person has come here and he will do so many bad things here and, disturb the society here. So when he was doing all these public protests, some people came, and they, beat him. They misbehaved with Gandhiji and physically assaulted him. And next day, he went to court and the judge asked Gandhiji that, can you recognize your assailants? Can you recognize the person who attacked you? And Gandhiji said, yes, I can, but I will not. And judge asked, and why? Why would you not do it? So Gandhiji said, I will not do it because I have forgiven them. Because for me, they were not the true guilty. Because they believed in these rumors and this misinformation that I have come here to do something wrong. And if at all there is anyone guilty, it is you, the government. You should have taken precautions. You should have, done this, that rumors should be stopped. You should have provided me security. So it is you who is wrong, not those persons. So forgiveness, he not only preached, but he also practiced that. Another related statement of Gandhiji is that forgiveness is the attribute of strong. Weak cannot forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of strong. The statement can come in a quotation-based question. That weak can, and the essay also, that the weak cannot forgive, the forgiveness is the attribute of strong. Why Gandhiji is saying that forgiveness is the attribute of strong? Because see, I will give you an example before I explain this. Once Lord Buddha, he was sitting under the tree. When he was sitting under the tree, a person came and spat on him, thuk diya Buddha ke upar. And Lord Buddha, at that point of time, Buddha was surrounded by his disciples. Can you imagine? You are being surrounded by the disciples. So many people are around you. They believe in you. And just one person, from nowhere, he has come and he has spat on you. Imagine what you can do to that person. You just need to say once to your followers and they will, beat that person like anything. But, Buddha simply asked, what next? What do you want next? And this melted his person. This melted this person's heart. And he later became his follower. So why forgiveness is the attribute of strong? Because to forgive, it requires that you let go of your own ego, that you first control your emotions of anger. And that is why forgiveness is the attribute of strong. That you let go of your feeling of retribution, that you want revenge. And that is why forgiveness is the attribute of strong, because you need to master emotional intelligence. You need to control your emotions, and that is the ability that will allow you to forgive. And that is why forgiveness is the attribute of strong. If Gandhiji wanted, he could have simply said, yes, I can recognize them. Such the power he was having. And the judge was also asking him, but he was a man of strong character, and he forgave them. I will give you another very beautiful case study of forgiveness. You talk about Nelson Mandela. After coming out of the prison from South Africa, he was at a very powerful position. He could have done whatever he wanted with the white minority, who had inflicted so many atrocities on the blacks. But what did he say? He said that I have forgiven them. A nation will be built on reconciliation and not on revenge. If we go onto the path of revenge, we will not be able to build a nation. There will be scar and scar. It will be very difficult to, get over those scars. And that's why he forgave them. And you see how that led to the, foundation of a civilized nation, or a nation that believed in peace later. So now you understand the importance that why we cannot forgive, why forgiveness is the attribute of strong, because weaks are under the control of emotions. Weak are controlled by emotion. They are controlled by anger. Instead, the people controlling the anger. They lack emotional intelligence, important ability. One question was there, another quotation-based question, very important theme of intolerance and hate in your UPSC, that anger and intolerance are enemies of correct understanding. So when you are angry, you are not able to see through things properly. You talk about this mob lynching. What is happening in mob lynching? Because you are so ideologically oriented that even when, the person is telling you that it is not the, beef, still you are killing him, merely on the suspicion. So that is what anger and intolerance can lead to, the incorrect enemy of correct understanding. That question was there. So the person who is not strong, he will not be able to forgive. Now you understand that? And Gandhiji also believed in that hate the sin and not the sinner. Understood, all of you? Then you talk about Swaraj. For Gandhiji, it was not just about political and economic Swaraj, that we should be governing ourselves. It was not just about that. The biggest meaning of Swaraj was ruling over oneself. That you should be able to rule over your desires, your emotions. That is Swaraj, self-rule. Your desires and emotions should not rule you. Instead of you should rule those desires and emotions. a concept that relates very closely with emotional intelligence, and that's where you will use Swaraj concept of Gandhiji to substantiate your point, just to draw the interlinkages between emotional intelligence and Swaraj of Gandhiji that talked about controlling desires of oneself. Understood? Swaraj. Then of course justice. He believed in justice. Otherwise, what was the need to go to Kheda? What was the need to go to Ahmedabad mini strike? What was the need to go to South Africa, and then fight when he was thrown out of the train? He could have simply said that, yeah, yahi to hota hai, it is a norm. But he fought against it because he believed that everyone should be given their fair due. He believed in fairness. He believed in justice. The talisman of him is actually a mechanism to ensure that people are governed fairly, that they are given their fair dues. You know talisman? That whenever you are making a decision, you should make that decision in such a way that, it should help the most poor and the most weaker person that you have seen. Understood or not? Yes? Then compassion, another very important value that we can learn from him. All of us have seen Gandhiji in this. Yes, in dhoti. Yes, but before that Gandhiji was wearing all the clothes. He was a barrister. But then what transpired that actually led to Gandhiji wearing dhoti only? What transpired? One fine day, he was traveling in South India. He was traveling in a train in South India, and of course he was promoting khadi and everything. But he saw that the people who were sitting in the train in his bogie, they were wearing on all those clothes, all those foreign clothes. And he was perplexed. He asked them that we are facing so many adversity because of you. The British, they are beating us like anything. And you are still wearing this foreign cloth, foreign made cloth. Why are you not wearing khadi? And those people said, Bapu, your khadi is very costly because it is handmade. On the other hand, this foreign cloth, it is machine made, it is mass-based production, and it is cheaper. And we cannot afford khadi. And that's when Gandhiji realized that whatever he was espousing for, whatever he was advocating for, was not really in sync with the reality of the country. And that's when he decided that, the society is perhaps so poor that I should also not, wear full clothes, because if they cannot afford it, I should not also do it. So that's a great example of compassion that Gandhiji displayed. Sarvodaya, of course, he was talking about from the perspective of farmers, women, everyone. Compassion, Sarvodaya. Yes, means and ends. Gandhiji was very adamant on it that we should take care of our means. If we take care of our means, the ends will follow. And that is why when the movement turned violent, he withdrew the movement because he was very focused on getting the right means. Understood? Trusteeship. The Gandhian idea, this is a potential question on the UPSC. Trusteeship. The Gandhian idea of trusteeship? Gandhian idea of trusteeship is that whatever resources we are having, we are not the owner of the resources. Whatever resources we are having in excess of what we need to survive. Whatever resources we are having in excess of what we need to survive, though all those resources we are holding as the trustee of the resources, those resources do not belong to us, they belong to the society, the people of this country. And that is why we should use them for their benefit and not for our own survival. So Gandhian principle of trusteeship believes in that you should not own much wealth, and whatever extra wealth you are having, it should be consumed for the purpose of society. And you see the great role, that was played by his concept in Bhudan movement. Just after independence, almost all the land was there with the Jamindars. Yes? So many landless tenant farmers were there. Jamindar was having all the land. And of course, in those times, there was not much manufacturing or service sector. All the property was there in the name of agricultural land only. That's how people, were supposed to survive. But from where they will get the land? Because land was with the Jamindars only. So many people, Vinoba Bhave, he believed in the Gandhian concept of trusteeship, and he started this movement of Bhudan movement, in which people voluntarily donated their land for the society. And a question can be, explain the Gandhian idea of trusteeship and how this is relevant in present context. That will be the question that can be asked. Explain the concept of trusteeship that you have explained and how it is relevant in the context of today's. So now, when you discuss the relevance from the perspective of income inequality that we are creating, that top 1% of the individuals are holding 49% of the wealth. You discuss from the perspective of sectoral inequality that is there, that the agriculture sector, it is contributing to only 27%, roughly that on the GDP, but employing more than 50% of the population. You should talk about from the perspective of environment, that when we are consuming the resources of the environment, we are not using them as this is something that has been given to us by our ancestor, but this is something that we have borrowed from our future generation and we are using it as a trustee. Whatever water, air we are using them as a trustee, that we need to pass it on in very good condition to our future generation also. That is Gandhian idea of trusteeship. It is very much relevant in the context of disparity that is there between developed and developing nation, and how developed countries should pay their responsibility, CBDR, because whatever excess resources they are owning, they should devote that to the climate change negotiation in the context of CBDR, responsibility, common but differentiated responsibility. That is how you will write your answer. Understood? So this question is a very good question that can be asked. So now we have learned various values that from Gandhian life and the stories and the incidents behind those values, that how actually we get to learn those values from his life. And another compilation of Gandhian learnings is in the context of 7 deadly sins. I will request you that you memorize these 7 deadly sins by heart. By heart you should memorize it, because you will be using them in your case study one way or other. Pragati, I will address that. One way or other, you can use them in your case study. So his first principle, wealth without work, that it is a sin to earn wealth without working for it. All the example of corruption, robbery, everything, they are example of that. So in case study, whenever you are offered money without doing the work, then it will be wealth without work, and you will write that I will not accept this promotion, I will not accept this money, because it is a sin, wealth without work. Pleasure without conscience. Whenever someone is, driven by pleasure, humans, they are supposed to have this inherent sense of dignity, a conscience that you should judge which type of pleasure is good to pursue, what is the mean to pursue. So when one is indulging in pleasure, he should indulge in it with utmost conscience. He should not be driven by the pleasure. So pleasure without conscience is a sin, and that is why we call all those rapists as animals. And that is why people who are indulging in child abuse, they are animals, because they are driven by pleasure only. The people who are addicted to gambling or drinking all the time, addicted, because they are having pleasure without conscience, that we should not indulge in this thing, so much. So pleasure without conscience. This theme, knowledge without character, and you will use that where? Whenever you are talking about people who are driven by their pleasures, all the drug abuse case study that you are talking, there you will use it, pleasure without conscience. Yes, any crime that has happened against a woman, you will use that, pleasure without conscience. And then knowledge without character. This is one of the single most important theme that is there, that knowledge without character is a sin. Because a knowledgeable person is very powerful person. Yes, he can do so many things. He is capable of doing so many things. So if he is not having character, he will be misusing his knowledge for the wrong ends. You talk about doctors. Now doctors are having so many medical knowledge, yes, something, because all of us have information asymmetry with respect to doctors. Doctors know much more than us. And because of that, they may prescribe certain drugs, certain tests that may not be required, because they have been asked to do so by the different MRs, market representatives. So when doctors are using their knowledge without character, it is a sin. All of you can quote this case study that, in the investigation of Dolo financed, various foreign trips of doctors. So it is wrong on the part of doctors, because knowledge without character is a sin. Cyber hackers, tremendous knowledge and skills they have, still they are misusing that. So, knowledge without character is a sin. Understood? Similarly, commerce without morality. Now in commerce, private organizations, of course they exist to make profit, but that profit should not be at the cost of morality. In COVID-19, the price of essential goods were hiked. That is against morality. If any company, I think recently, some of the drugs, the investigation revealed that they do not have so much of therapeutic value. Yes, Pentop D was there, and then a lot of drugs were there. So all the companies which are making such drugs, they are simply following commerce without morality. So in case study, in the context of private sector, if the one case study was there, one reputed food company which is exporting all those things to the foods, it is exporting the food to the outside nations. But all the rejected goods, it is selling in the domestic market. This case study was there. So you can write there that company is doing commerce without morality, and that is why it is a sin. Then science without humanity, same thing, because science is a very powerful tool. If we are using science, to harm humanity, then it is wrong. All the biological weapon, all those things that we discussed, extinction of species, everything, it is wrong. Science without morality, it is also a sin. This you can quote in the context of technological ethics also. The answer that you write on the artificial intelligence, the UPSC asked this year, there also you can quote science without humanity. Understood? Similarly, you talk about religion without sacrifice. You talk about any religion, all the religion focuses on making individuals the better version of themselves. Yes? That individuals should refine their character. And what do we understand when we say that we should refine our character? What do we understand? Refinement of character means that we should give up our vices, we should give up our desires. That is what it means. Yes or no? Yes? Religion without sacrifice. So, if you are indulging in religion without doing the necessary sacrifice of your vices, every religion you talk about, it demands certain sacrifices. Every religion. So, if you are following your religion without sacrificing the necessary vices, then it is also a sin. You talk about all the religious gurus who have been convicted because they were not able to sacrifice their vices and while they were preaching religion to others. So, religion without sacrifice is a sin. Of course, politics without principle is a sin. Criminalization of politics, role of money power, muscle power, everything we are saying. We will discuss this more in the context of Machiavelli and international relation. And eighth sin was added by Arun Gandhi, that rights without responsibility is a sin. This is a very important theme that can be asked. That if we want to enjoy right to clean environment, then we should shoulder our responsibility, to promote environmental conservation and to reduce pollution. If we want to have right to, potholes free road, then we should have the responsibility to pay taxes on time. So rights without responsibility is a sin. All the rights comes with the responsibility. If you are simply talking about rights only, then you are wrong. You have responsibility also. I will give this illustration of traffic light that is there. Yes, in traffic light you are having this green light. Yes, it is green light for some people, it is red light for other. The entitlement, the right of someone to pass through green light, it's contingent upon the responsibility of the other people who are following the red light. If those people don't follow the responsibility, the right of the person will not happen. Understood or not? So that is why rights and responsibilities, they go hand in hand. Understood? Yes? So now you can note, we have discussed Gandhiji in a lot of detail. Many stories you know. Of course, you can use them in your answers, essays, anecdotes, examples. Yes? If any of the story you want me to just recall, just now I will recall it for you for the purpose of writing, because it will not be there in your notes. Yes? Compassion तो बता दिया ना, धोती वाला जो था. कंपैशन का मतलब समझ में नहीं आता. तो कंपैशन का मतलब ये है कि अगर कोई आदमी दुखी है, परेशान है, तो उसके दुख से हम भी दुखी हैं और हम उसके दुख को दूर करने का प्रयास भी कर रहे हैं. आई विल टीच यू लेटर. करुणा बोलते हैं हिंदी में. फाउंडेशन वैल्यू ऑफ सिविल सर्विसेज, आई विल टीच यू. द टॉपिक इज देयर. एम्पैथी, सिंपैथी, कंपैशन. हाँ, तो उनको लगा कि उनको कुछ करना चाहिए, तो उन्होंने खुद उस पेन को एक्सपीरियंस किया, बोला मैं भी नहीं पहनूंगा. Sacrifice of the vices, wrongdoings that you are doing, because every religion will ask you to be a better version of yourself, and that demands that there should be some sacrifices.
Two dimensions you gave for trusteeship. One will be inequality.
I will give you the question in the section here. We'll discuss more on later. Inequality, income inequality. Trusteeship means that whatever you have beyond what you require for your survival belongs to public, belongs to society. It does not belong to you. That is trusteeship. Suppose you have, let's say 1 crore of rupees and you require only 10 lakh of rupees to survive. Then 90 lakh of rupees belong to the people of this country, society, and you should spend that for their welfare. Done? And you see, and Gandhian concept of trusteeship relies on morality. You see, the inequality, of course, there is inequality in every society. And you talk about Gandhian concept of trusteeship, it relies on the non-violent morality for people to give up their part of the wealth voluntarily. On the other hand, if you discuss with Marx, he talks about violent means. He also striving to reduce inequality, but through violent means. That's how both these thinkers, they differ from each other. Understood, Rajshri? Understood, Shubhangi? Done? Yes. सर्वोदया, हिंदी इट मीन्स सभी का उदय. उदय मीन्स उगना, बढ़ना, तो सभी का साथ बढ़ना, वेलफेयर ऑफ ऑल. ठीक है. सो गांधी जी वाज अबाउट फार्मर्स, एवरीवन, एवरीवन शुड कम अलोंग. Commerce without morality is any private company, which is following its morality just to earn more profit is violating that rule. Suppose any restaurant, it is using cheaper quality of oil, reheating the oil again and again, despite, it is cancerous and has so much of negative impact of health effect. An example of that only, commerce without morality. Okay, how to sum up the story? So in the actual examination, you simply write like this. Integrity, for example, Gandhiji, making their girl children pay for their stay in the ashram. The headline you need to write. You need not write this story. For example, Gandhiji expelling his own sister because of not avoiding untouchability. That is what you need to write. Not any story of Dudhabai and everything. That is for you to understand. And shall I change it? All these stories you can use on essay as well. Very, very important. Photo I will try to share. Done? Non-violence, NCM, forgiveness, South Africa incident, yes. Swaraj, especially individual Swaraj, controlling one's desire, controlling of yourself. Justice we know. Okay? Yes, overpriced water bottle at airport, etc. Commerce without morality. It depends upon the regulations. Overpriced, see, there are lot many things that are there. When things are overpriced, it is not always that it is, it is not, it is because of greed only. There might be various factors that have led to that. Talisman. Now, basically, whenever making decision, you need to understand that policy should benefit the last mile person. It should help the vulnerable. National Food Security Act, Manrega, all the example of that only. Right to education. Yes, Antyodaya. Yes, Antyodaya. Yes. Talisman, you Gandhi ji ka jantar, search karo usko. Talisman of Gandhi ji. You search on the Google, you will find something. Understood? Yes. Done? Yes. Okay then, I hope understood whatever we discussed today. So please revise it and see you tomorrow. Bye bye, good night.